it's almost like meet somebody, go out. We've all been there. You have that connection. You're vibing. You're flowing.
Yeah.
Miss you too.
Yeah.
Even though I just saw
babe.
you.
Like, what, babe?
Even though I just saw you yesterday.
Right.
I miss you today. Right? Like the whole flow is there, right?
Miss you already.
So you're saying even that in itself is disingenuous.
Yeah.
Right? Because now it's like that pace you can't keep up.
You
Or
cannot.
you may be negating other things to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yo, thanks for locking in. Today we're here with my homie, my co-host here on Gym Life, singer, songwriter, dancer, personal trainer, class instructor, nutritionist, you name it, she does it. Even came out here from the Philippines and made it happen on her own, Miss Sophia. Today we're gonna be talking about dating and text etiquette while we got a nice strength and cardio circuit for you. Let's vibe out.
Jima!
Yeah, so. Oh, let me get with you.
Okay.
What's going on with you, homie?
What's not going on?
Everything. Yo, it's so crazy. Every time I talk to members of clients, they're always like, yo, I just saw Sophia in a music video. Next thing she's performing, then she's training, then she's teaching a class. It's like, yo, your Instagram is a show in itself.
It's a show in itself. It's like, how did she get? That was just 3 hours ago. She was just up on stage.
Right.
Now she's right here teaching.
Getting it in, going hard. You know what I mean? But look, I gotta ask you, with everything you have going on, what do you do for working out and for your diet to kind of like stay in shape and keep your energy up?
Oh my God, super important, right?
Okay.
Because I am doing a lot of things. Workout wise, strength training has been my whole jam. Like that's like my time to like be in a meditative mode where like I take my recovery time, I listen to podcasts, so it's like I'm in a space where I'm learning about health or whatever, I'm listening maybe to sermons or whatever, and then when I have time, then I'll go for a run outside if it's nice.
Okay, so you're blending your strength training with your cardio. Is that day by day you switch?
Not always.
Okay.
It's just, I'm really learning to listen to my body.
Okay.
I'm really learning to listen to my body. So sometimes 3 to 4 days of strength training, and then maybe 2 out of those 3 or 4 days, I'm running outside after the weight training.
Okay.
And then on the between days, then maybe I'll just go for a run. Like just do a cardio day.
Nice.
And then diet-wise, I've been really trying to diversify where I get like my proteins, my fats, and I'm not in a restrictive diet.
Okay.
Like, it's been everybody's journey. It's like trying to find out what works for them because everybody's different, right? So I'll get my protein from, let's say maybe this week and more, it's more fish-based. Like the next week, maybe it's more like plant-based, but try to keep a plant-based diet. But I don't beat myself up if
That's huge. I mean, I think we're always stressing that when we're working with clients, members, always telling them, like, just do not make it stressful.
Right. Yeah.
Find what works for you. Try different things out. Don't dive into one particular way of doing things and then make that the only thing you do.
Right. You want to diversify. And then stress also will cause you to gain the weight anyway. So it's like self-sabotage. So I'm like, I can't be stressing out. And then also not stressing out is right now like really focusing on sleep and rest.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, we're always emphasizing that as well because that's where the magic happens, right?
Right.
You have the workouts, which is a form of stress. Then your recovery, which is the adaptation, is where everything has to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So when you're not getting enough sleep, which I'm talking to myself because I got to a point where I was like, dang, I'm not getting any younger. This body is literally telling me what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes I'll prioritize rest over working out.
That's like, it's funny. I've been talking to myself the same way, right? Where it's like I've gone like even sometimes 8, 9, 10 days in a row with the workouts. I'm like, today, you know what?
Well, because you programmed yourself to do that, so you almost have to like put in the work, the extra effort to like tell yourself to rest.
Yes.
And not do the most.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, okay. So with that in mind, today I got a circuit for us to do. Okay, so we're going to get it in. I got 2 dumbbells over here. I'll break down the circuit for you. We're going to go through 4 times, and then after that, I'll let you choose your weight. All right. So First, we're gonna start with one dumbbell and we're gonna go reverse lunge to curl. So we're gonna step back for a reverse lunge and then come up into a curl. We're gonna go 10 on each side. After that, we're gonna have both dumbbells and we're gonna go for tricep extensions, where we're sitting back, squeezing, right? That's gonna be for 10. After that, I got our mats here. We're gonna be right on our back, so we're gonna go reverse crunches.
Okay.
So we're here, up and down. Those will be 10. Right after that, we'll stay on the mat, and then we'll go plank into downward dog. So we'll be here, drive up, and come down, and then bring it right into a knee tuck. Okay? And after that, we're gonna get a nice cardio burst. Where we go, got to. And then we're gonna go squat jacks, down and up for 10. So each one's gonna be 10, we'll go through. We're gonna go through 4 times.
4
Each
times.
circuit will be 5 minutes per circuit.
Okay.
Got it? So I'm gonna let you choose your weight. I'm gonna set the timer, and then we got some things we gotta talk about today.
Ooh, okay.
All right?
I'm interested to see what are the questions, Gina? What are the questions? Because I may have some answers.
Just a few?
Just a few. Let's see. Okay. So let me get this.
Let me know when you're ready over there.
Oh, I'm ready.
Ready?
I'm doing 15s today.
Okay, you got the 15s. You going for it?
We're going for it today.
All right, so I just set the timer. We're gonna start with our warm-up. You'll catch as soon as I sit down before long. So be on your back.
Okay.
And we'll go for the leg across stretch. We can get the lower back and the glutes.
Okay.
All right. Bring it over. And we'll go 1 minute and then we'll switch over.
Okay, I love this stretch.
Isn't this good?
Always, I always hear my lower back crack whenever I do this stretch.
Oh yeah.
That's no fail.
And I mean, it's huge for, I think, people that are sitting down all day.
All day, driving. I mean, we're in LA now. That's all we do.
Yes, yeah. Whether you're in traffic or if you're, then imagine being in traffic for an hour and then going sitting at a desk for another 8, then back in traffic, you know?
And then you train and you go super hard. It's your body's what is going on?
Yeah, I would encourage sometimes even for people to take a mat and bring that to work.
Oh,
be that person. Be that person.
Be that weirdo.
Oh yeah.
It's cool.
Oh yeah, it's cool. You'll be all right. And then we're gonna come up to our feet. And then we're gonna squat and then reach down for a hamstring stretch.
Okay.
So, question for you.
Answer.
Right? You know what's cool? I always try to emphasize having a friend of the opposite sex that you can run things by.
Oh yeah, that's so important.
It's huge. So, hypothetically, but also I think we've all been in this situation. Let's say I'm out, I meet somebody, and we exchange numbers. You know that moment.
Yep.
Where get the girl's number, and then it's okay, I'm gonna shoot that first text or that call, whatever it may be. How long, what would you prefer, a call or a text message as a woman? And if you get that call or text message, let's say it's a text message.
Okay.
How long do you think is too long, or how long do you think is too fast? If you get that text message that night, right? Are you okay, you're doing too much, bro? Or
Sir,
if it's 2 weeks.
Actually, no, don't back off, actually.
Back off. Give me a minute. And they'll go, here, we're gonna go child's pose. Yep. And then we'll come up into a plank.
Okay.
Or if it ends up being 2 weeks, are you damn, that was way too long?
I've gone through both extremes where, first of all, I will have to say, I don't think I haven't experienced anybody calling anymore firsthand. I feel I would actually be extra impressed if they called.
Oh, okay. If they call for the first, okay.
I wouldn't find that weird at all. I would just be oh wow, they're a caller, they're confident, they want to have a conversation right off the bat, hear my voice. You know what I mean? It's flattering.
Yeah.
But since nobody does that anymore, I'm kidding. I would say if it's the same day, cool. I would just interpret it as, oh, okay, cool. They saw something. They are somebody they're attracted to. They want to get to know them. They're on it. Right? And unless they're not somebody I'm feeling I would want to talk to, then I'd be wow, they're super desperate.
You're oh, okay, all right.
I gotta work on that. But I would say I've also been in a situation where guy got my number.
Okay.
It's a few months ago. Guy got my number, and we hit off. We had a couple points where we're oh, we're we connect on that, right?
Right.
So
you're connecting through the text messages.
not even the text, but when he approached me.
When he approached you,
me,
so
I did
that
this
initial
and that.
interaction
I was like,
was
yeah,
okay.
and we were like from the same parts of like like where I used to live. So it's just like, oh, cool, like we have enough things to talk about.
Okay.
We established that, and then he got my number, and then I'm thinking like, oh, he's gonna try to take me out on a date within that week, next week, or whatever. Juma, I did not hear from him or didn't get a text or whatever, but we did exchange Instagram, right?
So okay, so you exchanged Instagram and numbers.
And numbers,
okay.
right? Because
okay.
now that's just what we do now. But I will say, I did notice he would watch my stories, he would like my posts and stuff like that. But what I realized at that time that I was like, why isn't he hitting me up? He's vetting.
Okay.
He's trying to see, okay, like she's a pretty girl, like she's not bad look, but what else has she got going on? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I had to like, now that I'm like a little more involved in the process.
Okay.
I'm not petty in that sense where I'm like, dang, like he hasn't, you know what I mean? It just makes sense. And then a couple months later, he finally asked me.
He finally messaged you.
Finally messaged, hey, I would love to take you out for a drink or whatever. And then we actually had a great time.
That's so cool. I'm glad you didn't do the whole tick for tack thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You didn't message me for these many months, so now I'm going to make you wait.
We'll make you wait twice the length of that.
Yeah, that's where it gets weird.
Yeah.
They'll come up, and then we got the dumbbell right into the lunge and into the curl.
I'm still working on that, though.
You're still working on that? where if like somebody takes long to message, and then you mirror it.
And then it depends. You know what? It depends on where I see their intentions are. If there's somebody that's super genuine, I'm like, no, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But if it's somebody like I feel like they're playing games. Like,
okay.
I'll give
then
you
you wait
time.
a little bit.
Yeah. It's like you're always constantly, at least for me, I'm constantly trying to feel out their energy.
Okay.
And maybe that's part of my personality type. Where I'm always like reading the situation. So if I feel like, oh yeah, they're genuinely like maybe they really were busy, right? Energetically, I'll give them the same type of like I won't be doing the tit for tat kind of thing.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely huge.
Does that make sense?
Because I think a lot of times we have to understand. I heard this story one time, and good, then we got the triceps, about, I'm going to butcher it, but you'll get the point. This Buddhist monk.
Careful now, because women watching this too.
So this Buddhist monk goes in to give this speech at some auditorium, and he just writes something on the board and just says, everybody wants to change the world, but nobody wants to clean their room, right? So, right?
That's huge.
And so
I like that.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
The way I took that was, I'll go reverse crunches next. The way I took that was, a lot of times the energy you want, you got to start with yourself to create. So it's like, that person sends that message 2 or 3 days later, then you're like, you know what? Even though if I have the time, you're not going to force it. But if I have the time, then just hit them right back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm learning to resolve to. It's more about convenience.
Okay.
Like I'm not gonna go out of my way. Now if it's convenient for me and I get the text and it's convenient for me right at that time to respond right away, then I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna play the whole game like, oh, let me just make them wait because they made me wait. And then it's just a whole like thing that's just like a game that you unnecessarily have to like you end up playing in your head.
Yeah, in your head. That's the key part, right? It's in your head.
All in my
because
head.
we have no idea why they took them long to message or what's going on.
It could be anything.
But you're like, oh, okay, you want to. They're like, I didn't know, but I wasn't playing the game.
In my head, I'm like, girl, she da da da, and then there's another girl in my head, your girl, da da da, like, and then it just becomes so toxic because like now we're having all these meetings, without even including the person that you're actually
including the person there,
involved with.
Right? Yeah. That's funny. My next question would be, so after that, you guys went out, right? So which is cool, and you have a good time. You know, generally speaking, you don't speak about that situation specifically.
Yeah.
But before we get 3 more, 3, 2, and 1. So you have to speak about that situation specifically, but let's say you go out with a dude, y'all have an amazing time, right? And then after that, you go out again, you have an amazing time. How often do you expect these messages, these check-ins? Are you I need I need to hear from you every day to check in, or are you, let's just kind of go with the flow? What kind of pace are you expecting with the messaging? Once you establish that you're having a good time, you like this person and he likes you.
The older version of Sophia would have said,
older
version, now keep this in mind, the older version of Sophia would have said, oh, we should already be, like, let's hit it, we hit it off, there, boom, I should be receiving constant messages.
Daily.
Yeah.
Daily. Okay.
Daily. And to the point where it was just like, where's the good mornings? I was that person.
Right.
Because it's like society says, other women says,
That's like, how you feel.
That's how I feel.
Right.
But this, now having also dealt with being in a situation where I was receiving all of that, and then eventually it would just kind of die out, you know? So like that, realizing that that's not genuine either.
Right.
Like getting the constant message, like nobody's ever consistently available for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Even if they might be available for a season, like there's gonna be some days they're not gonna be available, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So those expectations are unrealistic. You know? So I'm almost like, oh, I'd rather you take your time.
Right.
Because then I'm gonna take my time.
Yeah.
And it's not something where like I woke up one day, I'm gonna take my time. Like I had to work through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like now it's like I gotta value my own time.
Yeah.
And do what's convenient for me too. I mean, there's things that I'm gonna have to step outside of my comfort zone. That's a whole nother topic. But like as far as like texting, the back and forth, like the frequency, like you gotta just kind of lay back.
Yeah. What, you said a few things in there. It was kind of layered that I just really want to elaborate more on.
Okay.
So one is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like meet somebody, go out. We've all been there. You have that connection. You're vibing. You're flowing.
Yeah.
Message, miss you too. Even though I just saw you.
Like what?
Even though I just saw you yesterday.
Right.
I miss you today. Right. Like the whole flow is there. Right.
Miss you already.
So you're saying even that in itself is disingenuous.
Yeah.
Right. Because now it's like that pace you can't keep up. Or you may be negating other things to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So and then the second part that I heard is almost like seasons. So you got to honor those seasons. You may be able to keep a pace up for like a week or a couple of days, then it may fall off, and we shouldn't read too much into it.
Right.
Okay.
And that goes to the point that we've made before, which is texting is just a tool.
Okay.
But the minute, if you're looking at it as like, oh, that's how I'm gonna know what their intentions are, how busy they are, how true they are to their words, like that, you're gonna fail. Like you're gonna start like really misinterpreting a lot of things.
Yeah.
So dating is really a tool to kind of check in, hey, flirt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And set some things up, foreplay, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's not the end all be all.
Yeah. That's huge. So it's like using those text messages as like one aspect of everything else.
Yes.
To kind of understand this person as you're getting to know them.
Yeah.
It reminds me of this story. So remember how at the old gym we were right across the street from the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So one day I'm coming out of the coffee shop and I see two of the members there.
I remember. I think I know who these two are.
We'll let them remain nameless. Right?
Yeah.
4, 5. We'll get 5 more. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So as they're there, they're riled up. And like when I mean riled up, you know how sometimes you, like me, I may get with my boys or you may get with your girls and you have a story and they riding right with you, right?
Just so this happened, everything.
This happened. Oh, you right. You know what I'm saying? This means this. So I walk up on them and they're there drinking their coffee after a workout while they're riled up. That's like a triple stimulant that's happening right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as soon as I walk by, one's like, Jima. I'm like, what's up? She was like, I got a question for you. I was like, give it to me. What's going on? And one. She was like, okay, so I just started seeing this guy. We were having a good time, and I messaged him, and I haven't even heard back from him. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, so when was the last time you talked to him? She was like, yesterday. I was like, so it hasn't even been a full 24. Okay.
Let's see what happened in your head, what happened in your mind.
Right. I'm trying to put it in perspective.
Especially somebody who's always busy.
Right.
And it may take 2 weeks for you to get back to somebody.
Yes. Oh my God.
You're like, yesterday.
What happened? Okay. Yeah. But what I will give them, and I do understand this in its fullest extreme, is that you don't have time to be playing games, so you have to weed people out right away. So that part of it I get. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially 3, 2, and 1. Especially if you're a woman who's trying to be discerning and want something that's serious and you're trying to figure out if this guy's playing or not. I totally get it. And you have to use what you can, right? But there's certain times you have to take into consideration. You're meeting people, especially as adults, who have gotten so far into their lives with friends, with family, with work, and so many responsibilities. Sometimes it's just them detaching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I said, 24 hours. I said, what does he do for work? She's like, oh, he's a lawyer. I said.
So you want a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer who's like super like high paid, well paid, but then you also want them to be able to respond to you every hour.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. But what I will say is, just like we say when we get that kind of like information from an opposing point of view, after I finished talking to her, she was like, okay, that makes sense. Right? We'll go reverse crunches. She's like, okay, that makes sense. And I think that's a big part, which goes back to what you said, is just using messages as a tool. You know what I mean?
And then also, right, from a female, because I hear men say this too, like, well, where's the part where you get to check in on me? Like, where you check in on me or you initiate something, right? So like, in that moment or in that case, it's like, we kind of have to also be able to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And giving them the benefit of the doubt, hey, just check it. If you're itching to really like hear from them, why don't you check in?
Yeah.
Not to say you always have to, but sometimes guys also want to know that you also want them, like you also like desire them.
Yes.
Right?
My God, yes. Like, and I say this, we'll go downward dog Nita. Yeah. And then bring it in. So one thing I will say, and it's sometimes this gets lost in translation or miscommunication, is traditionally men were the pursuers.
Right.
Traditionally, right? So if this were 1920, right? And by some, extreme of the imagination, they were able to have cell phones and send text messages.
Right.
The guy should be the one sending all the messages and being the one pursuing. But what I think needs to be understood, what I think needs to be understood, all right, we get squat jacks, let's go 10. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. What I think needs to be understood is that feeling out phase and how things have transitioned, where there's a group of us men who are still trying to figure out where we fit in dealing with the new woman. And when I mean new woman, that transition from traditional roles.
Right.
So now we can't just assume traditional roles, where now I just come over and take the lead and do everything. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I was the captain of my basketball team. When the teacher left, Gima, you're in charge. Older brother. Like, I don't have a problem leading. Right,
you don't have a problem initiating.
But at the same time, I also have a mother who's taught me to respect women.
Right.
So I'm not gonna, from the jump, gonna take on that leadership role unless I know that's gonna be our dynamic. Right. So I think sometimes as women, we don't want to misinterpret a guy respecting your space and your boundaries as him not wanting to pursue you or want to be be with you. Right?
Can I be real and honest?
Go. Hey, listen, that's 8.
Can I just hand this to you?
Give it to me.
I have this thing, and I've noticed this, where if I look at my record, like men that seem intimidating are like good looking to me, like maybe they're like super masculine. I have this automatic thing where I will like just think that they should be the initiator all the time. Like they wouldn't want or that they're like a fuckboy, right?
Okay.
And so to me, I get very guarded and defensive. I'm like, I'm dealing with a fuckboy now. I gotta make sure they come to me.
Yeah.
Right? And then like so many times I've been proven wrong where that fuckboy was like actually a really nice dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're actually also guarded. They're also like hurt.
Also
they're
guarded.
also operating from a place of fear, a place of hurt. And I'm like, and it'll really humiliate me because it's like, oh wow, like I've associated the way they look and they come off to like how they are as a person or how they approach women. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like I could see somebody seeing somebody like you would be intimidated and might be like, oh, if he's busy, he's dealing with other women.
Right,
you know, like
right,
you
right,
go
right.
down that whole list.
You go down that whole list.
Just because of how you are, like how you look.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he's only like saving himself for one girl. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like
yes.
how crazy is that?
Yeah.
But that's for me, like when I noticed, I was like, oh shoot, like
that's a big point.
It doesn't help at all. Anybody.
No.
Me or the person I'm dealing with. At all.
So that's such a good point you bring up is when we first meet someone, categorizing them without getting to know them.
100%.
So now we're reading those messages through that lens based on past experiences. Mm-hmm. That is insane.
Yeah.
And I think working in our industry, we see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right? So we see a lot of that in the sense where we see the people that have good jobs, good careers, are in really, really good shape, but they're the nicest, most down-to-earth people in the world.
Right.
Right? And good. And you could imagine all the misinterpretations, misperceptions that are going on out there as we meet people. Mm-hmm. That is insane. Which goes to the point where I think patience is so important. Patience when things are not going well as far as communication, but then patience in addition as far as getting to know someone, right?
Yeah. As women, we don't want to hear that though.
Right. you don't want to hear wait. Like, you don't want to hear wait.
We want to know if you're already going to be my husband or what, or not. Like, where are we going?
What's happening? You going to tell me?
Where are we going?
What are we doing?
But you can't, that'll really literally make you spiral down into reinforce the divide between men and women.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like or the misunderstanding, the miscommunication.
Yeah.
You know, so like literally patience is the key.
It's the
key. The only way. Let time pass. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait it out. You don't even know if you want to be dealing with that person.
You don't even know. You don't even know if you want this person to be texting you every day. You know?
How many times have you been in a situation, Jiwa, where like, you know, like you go on a date or you start talking to a woman and you're like really into them, right? And then the minute you break up, especially with you because they don't take that long for you to get over it. Like the minute, even like, let's give them a benefit, like even months later, the name comes up and you're like, oh, dang. Like, I can't believe that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think what you're saying, we'll go playing down with dog, which is super important. It's all about finding people that we connect with. Right. So a lot of times, finding whether or not you have a genuine connection with somebody takes time. Like a lot of time. But not time in the sense of like months or years. It takes time in terms of like real conversations.
Right.
And you really can't have those real conversations through text message.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? Like, and that's the biggest part.
Especially when you talk about men and women, because we already operate. We're already wired differently. So a man and a woman texting. There's already going to be seen it from with a different lens.
Oh my goodness!
Automatically.
You know, it's funny. One thing for me, and I would say this to any woman who's listening, is that some men, or I think some people, but I think predominantly men, can be very short in text messages because we save it for conversation. Right? Sure. And one. Yeah. So when I message, I'm trying to get to the point. So there's two things to that. When I message, I'm hardly using more than 2 to 3 lines. If I see 3, I'm like, okay, no, it's way too much. I need to get to the point. And then if I get one that's more than 3 lines, it's very tough for me to get past the 3rd line to read, right? Just because I'm like, we're not going to accomplish that much in there. So I don't think you are.
I'm already seeing this is the whole
the miss, right? Like, oh my God, but you know what I mean? So which goes back to is like take that and put it in one little space and then wait for when you're hanging out, phone conversations, what you talked about, and then add all that together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm looking at you like, no, 3 lines too much. Women. Nah, I need to elaborate on this. Like, or them like seeing you at somebody text like, damn, that's all they're gonna say. That's all they're gonna say. Meanwhile, you're like, I'm just trying to like not waste the time, my time or their time. And we're like, damn, that's all he's gonna say. Like, well, this is how I feel. Like a whole freaking paragraph, and then some more because I'm guilty as charged, right? And I'm like, dang, like. I didn't need to say all that. Save that for the conversation.
Save it for the conversation because you miss each other. Oh my God, this one particular story. Tell me this ever happened. What I will say is that this woman I was with for a pretty good amount of time is what I really respect about what we did is whenever there was a disagreement through text messages, we would almost like turn into a joke when we saw each other, the miscommunication.
Okay, I love that.
Oh my God, it was dope. It was really dope where I would see her, and then you could tell you're off when you see the person, right? Like, hi, everything good? Yeah,
hi.
Everything's fine. Anything wrong? No, which means yes, but you need to figure it out. Okay.
You need to read my mind.
Right.
You better get it right.
So we sit there, and then what I like what she would do was very well. She's like, I would like to present exhibit number A, and pull up the text message, and then right there I'd be like, oh, in this moment I can see how you took that. But that's not what I meant, though.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, but see, but you just put this message. That's why I said that. You know what I mean?
That happens all the time. When does it not happen, though?
All the time.
Yeah, all the time. But I'm glad you guys could like reach a point where you're like, you can kind of like be more facetious about it. Like, oh, this is not that deep.
No,
really
not.
This happens
really
all
not.
the time.
Yeah. And it helps so much because then now when it comes up again, regardless of how the text makes you feel, you then say, you know what, let me just wait till I talk. Let me wait because I know how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to take yourself out. You got to zoom all the way out.
You have to. You have to.
I was just in that situation recently.
Oh yeah?
You know, where I'm thinking like, oh, I'm flowing right. I'm sounding good. I'm saying what I need to say, and they're gonna love this.
They're gonna love this.
And then they like shut off, and I was like, wait, what happened? What did I say? And they're like, that's not how I took it. And I was like, so I read it back as I'm reading it back, and then I had, you know, like asked another friend of mine. I'm like, yo, girl, read this. Did it come off? And she's like, oh, girl, like. This is how I would have interpreted that, right? Because I'm like, I know me. So I know when I say this, this is what I really, like, this is what I mean.
Right.
Right? And clearly, that's not how they took it.
No. What I do like, though, and I think both of us have this, is friends that will help you to see the other side.
Yes.
I'll say this
How important is that?
Let me tell you. Here, we'll go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I honestly believe if your friends agree with you every single time you have an issue with somebody, they're not your friends.
No.
They're not, right? So even my homies, when I hit them up, they'll be like, I could give them any situation. Right. And I already know they're going to be like, well, but you could have did this.
Right.
And it's not to say somebody's right or wrong, but it offers perspective to help you see the other side before you come to a conclusion.
That's just true. Nobody's right or wrong.
Right.
Sometimes that's not even what you're trying to get to.
Right.
You're just trying to grow or see, kind of expand your consciousness.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like just being aware of, oh, there might be a whole nother perspective here that's just as valid as mine. And
leave room.
Your friends, right? Leave room. Your friends, the real friends that are for your growth, will literally be like, wait. Have you thought about this? Like, you know, wait, so you're going to do this and this is like, that's what you're about, but you're not going to tolerate this?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, oh.
Yeah. Holding you accountable to what you've told them.
Accountability.
Which is huge, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, so this is what you're about.
Right, right.
You just told me yesterday, girl, right, that
Right.
you said you were going to be more open-minded and da-da-da-da, and now here this comes.
Yeah.
Which is so dope, because that means you
Right.
and your friends are having really good conversations.
Right.
Right? Insanely good conversations.
Yeah.
Let's get one more.
Okay.
And good. Yeah, which is the most important part, is that through each interaction, each conflict, you'll like gain some level of understanding.
Yeah.
Which I think is important for people to understand in general, is that anytime there's that miscommunication, whether it's through text, whether it's through phone call, that's another opportunity to get to understand who you're trying to connect with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And being present, like, because that person, you'll never get another version of that person again. Or
Right.
the version that you have in mind from like whoever you were, your ex was or your past, like if you bring that version into who you're looking at, you're gonna miss the person that you're getting to know, really getting to know who's in front of you.
You can miss that shit.
You can easily miss it.
You can 100% miss that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5, 6. We get 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good.
Whew.
Yeah, and I really, really like the fact that you're talking about using texting as a tool. And also what we highlighted, which is very important, is the difference between men and women, right? So, and of course we're talking in this particular conversation within the heterosexual man, when we meet the women, and we understand that there's different variations within that whole spectrum.
Right.
But in that, the traditional sense of heterosexual man dating women, and even in the sense that we know there's what we talk about masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah.
Right? So there's certain men that can possess a certain amount of feminine energy, and that there's all variances within that. But within that, I think we have to understand generally that there's going to be some differences in communication styles. Right?
Come on.
So when you get those messages, you're not only missing the conversation, you're also missing the understanding of this person's past, and you're trying to get that out of 3 sentences. How many times have we done that, right? Like
out of 3 lines.
3 lines. Like the person's like, yo, blah, 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 blah. You read it and you're like, oh, that means this person is, whoa.
Right.
Whoa, you can't go there just yet.
Yeah. You miss the point. You miss the whole. You're missing a lot of things.
Yes.
Because you've already jumped into conclusion. And I will say, I will own up to it as a woman. And generally speaking, we do this a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Men, I feel like men, in general speaking, are more like open, or just kind of like y'all don't really trip on like, just something that you see. You're like, oh, I still got this. You know what I mean? You might not hear from like, I still got it. Like, you know, like she's not going anywhere. Or like, I'm still good. You know, but us, it's like the minute we don't, it's like, oh man.
Cool
like,
down.
How do we get their attention back? Meanwhile, like they're over there playing video games or like just working or like, yo, you see that fight? Like, and we're over here like, girl, he hasn't even like, we used to talk all the time. And mind you, like, meanwhile, y'all having a great time, not even thinking about not necessarily thinking about another woman or like, playing games, and we're over here like. Already have a whole interpretation, ready to jump into conclusion, ready to push y'all off, like, you know? It's like...
He said, you over there like, oh, I know he doing this means that. And we in the middle of watching the fight like, yo.
He's probably on a date with a woman. But like the space that I'm in right now, what I'm learning, Jima, is to like really respect my space and my time, like respond when I have the time to, and not rushing into responding just so I can say that, oh, I've been consistent, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes into really learning how to enjoy your solitude, like enjoy your time for your friends, enjoy your time by yourself. Like you don't even have to really be working to not respond. Like you could just be literally enjoying eating, cooking, and like and kind of still take your time in responding. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Not to say like I'm gonna make them wait. Not in that like.
Not in that sense. Not I'm gonna make them wait. You know?
Exactly.
You know what Deb just made me think of is every time I do an intake, and we'll go to the child's pose. Every time I do an intake, it's always different stories, right? Like as far as why they're looking to start personal training. And a lot of times with both men and women, I hear them say, now I want to be my best self. So how I interpret that is you were just in a relationship where you weren't your best self.
Right. You were in a toxic relationship. You were eating all the junk food. And, and now you're like, okay, now I'm ready.
Now I'm ready.
So you didn't take the time to try to be in a good headspace while you're in that relationship so that you can continue to function, to the best of your ability?
Exactly. And I think in the traditional sense, we're taught that within a relationship, you're supposed to sacrifice a part of yourself, which I vehemently disagree with. Yeah. Right? So now you're in this space where you're like, okay, I'm going to be my best self. And I think during the relationship, both people have to have that understanding. So in getting to know someone, if we're talking about text messages, and then we'll go to chest. So if we're talking about text messages, I think there's two sides that need to establish a wider range of thought.
Right.
The first side is if I'm the person who should be doing the responding, it means I received a text message, but I have things to do. Whether that's rest and chill, detach for a minute, I have to honor that. Whether it's working out, whether it's catching up on emails, I have to honor that before I respond to that message for two reasons. One, to honor myself, and two, respect them enough to reach out to them when I have the energy and space to commit to them. Right. Not just a quick to just make sure I do it.
Right.
Then the person on the other end who may be waiting for the message, them saying, okay, you know what, I just sent the message. They may be in their zone taking care of themselves. So I'll just wait and I'll take care of myself until I hear from them. You know?
No, that's a healthy way of looking at it. Yeah. And then also, like I said earlier, if you're itching as a woman, since we're so programmed to be the one to wait and let the man chase you. I'm not saying chase the man or do anything that's not of you. But if you're itching to just say hi.
Say hi.
Or ask questions
say hi.
I haven't been hearing back, or I haven't. I feel like there's been a
disconnect.
Thank you. Disconnect. Like, is there something that I said?
Yeah.
I don't think, as a man, wouldn't you respect a woman more if she was more like forthcoming, like more like, oh wait, am I interpreting this wrong? Like, you know what I mean?
My God, yes. Because the reality of it is, and I think also too, by doing those little clarification messages, and they can be short and sweet, is, hey, I just want to check in because this is what I'm thinking or feeling, or this is what I'm receiving.
Right.
I think on both ends, it just helps people to get a clear understanding of whether or not that other person is feeling them.
Right.
Because if I'm feeling someone and they need clarity, like at that moment, you become like a priority. Right? Like, okay, let's get this clarity so we can get back to our lives. You know what I mean? And everybody can get back to connecting and becoming our best selves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Real quick example. Recently, I was just expressing to somebody. I said, hey, usually I'm so good with getting back to what I need to do and just kind of like putting this in a space, but since I don't feel emotionally connected and I feel like there's a disconnect here, I'm going to address this right now, because right now, to be honest, I can't even like get this issue out of my mind. So I'm just taking the time to like express this to you, you know, and back then I would have been like, damn, you're doing too much, or like, forget, like you're putting yourself way out there, you know? But I got the response of like, hey, I appreciate you for saying that and I agree with you.
Wow.
How big is that? Now I can go work. Now I can go work out. Now I can go like continue to do. But if I hadn't prioritized that, right, then I also wouldn't have been able to see how much they actually prioritize or like at least value where the emotional space that I'm in.
I heard two things out of that, which I have to commend you on, right? One is...
That was tough. It's like pulling teeth. I'll tell you,
like, don't give me two. Don't commend me too much because I had to
actually do, because it was really tough. Actually, really do. Commend me because the amount of stuff that I had to do that day, I had to go for. Oh my God! To even get to that.
Almost like take a walk before I send this message.
Oh my God! Take a walk.
But what I think was dope is, one, you expressed yourself, but two, you didn't vilify or demonize the other person.
Right.
Which is big. Right? So I think a lot of times we go to those extremes where we're like, okay, I got to get something off my chest. This person is wrong. Versus I got to get something off my chest. I may be misunderstanding something. Let's clarify.
Right.
Two completely different things.
Very, very different.
You know?
Yeah.
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 Well,
ooh, that relief was like worth that work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
That's it. But, you know, I really appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you too.
And getting this workout. You know, always
Yes.
having these good convos.
Man,
and I like new Sophia versus.
Yes. Woo! It's still a work in progress, but definitely way better than where I was before.
Listen, we all try to get there. All of us.
This is so good.
Really good.